Welcome back to your weekly dose of motivation, brought to you by the Motivating Force Podcast. You're listening to Josue, an aspiring Marine Corps officer who is finishing up ROTC and working towards his bachelor's in criminal justice. And myself, Justin, a motivational speaker who's always excited to share our new ideas and topics with you. We're both highly motivated individuals who love to question everything and share some rather unique viewpoints with all of our listeners.
This week, we're going to be talking about money and why it's important to start looking at your savings and finances when you're planning on building that structured life for yourself. So let's get this fire lit
and get motivated.
All right, everybody. So this week, we're going to be talking about financial management. We're going to be hitting points on delayed gratification, tips and tricks on how to save properly and how to not get so anxious when it comes to like natural disasters and what to do in case of pandemics as where we're in right now. We're talking more towards the people in the middle class and just around that base, because upper middle class and people with money shouldn't be coming to us for money info or advice. You should be talking to somebody in a Swiss bank or something. What do you think?
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, we're not there yet, and if you have a lot of money and you're going to come listen to two young adults, I would like to know how you made all that money.
Yeah, we would be going to you. We're not going to be telling you who to invest in for stocks or anything. But we are really going to be hitting on that financial management and why it is very important for you to start saving.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel, especially where we're at, like being the young adults we are, obviously, we're not that 18-year-old millionaire, let me show you how I did it type of thing.
Oh, don't we wish?
Of course. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. There comes a lot in our journey and learning in life and a lot of it comes from hard work. So I'm glad to be where we're at. I think we're both very well off for where we've come from. Like, we're making that progress financially and just in general. So we definitely have some great points today that are generalized, but specific enough that people can really latch onto something here and try to change that perspective a little bit.
Yeah, and like I've said, I believe like 2 episodes ago, where I was saying that I actually came from a lot of like financial struggle. So it's kind of self-reflecting in myself and how I got through that I'm going to try to give advice to people on this episode, because I was in a pretty dark spot, but made it through it, and hopefully other people can make it through it as well.
Definitely, man. I feel like you're going to have a lot of great things to say here, kind of coming through that, because on my end personally, I didn't necessarily have that struggle. I've just had a continual growth upwards.
Yeah. And
by being able to apply principles and seeing the changes I'm making financially and how that's bringing me success now.
Yeah.
So we definitely do come from 2 different points here. And I think that's going to be great for the audience.
Yeah. Because it overall just builds character.
Oh, yeah.
When you can struggle that much and then overcome it.
Exactly. So jumping into the first point here, man, the main problem that we're seeing here when it comes to managing your money is that people are not prioritizing their future.
No, they're not.
So how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I feel like people need to really start looking at their future, because when something like this hits, we're in COVID season, you see everybody like start freaking out, and it's not needed. People don't need to be freaking out about things that it's obvious. Like, we're going to be going through, what is it, like a recession, economic recession. We're going to be going through times of struggle. Market's going to crash. There's going to be natural disasters no matter where you live. And it's like, if you know these things are going to happen, you should be focusing on how to prepare for when it happens. So you have to build a safety net. You have to, start putting some money aside, because if not, then you're just going to keep struggling when you're already struggling. My bad.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny because it does work against capitalism for the way that human nature works with this, because when times are good and people have that extra money, they're spending all of it, right? Yeah. People aren't really focusing on that savings. And what happens when we have times like this where we enter a bear market and recessions right around the corner, things like that, from situations that we can't control. One being, of course, COVID right now. But now people are going to hoard their money and save it because it's more of a scarcity. And that's the exact opposite of what needs to be happening in order for
the economy to come back. Yeah. You need to spend money for it to keep growing.
Yeah. Yeah. The real simple thing that I was taught about that was the value of $1. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you're at work and somebody tips you $1, okay, you leave work, you go home, you take an Uber, you give that Uber driver that $1 as a tip, and then he goes to the store and buys a water with that $1. Okay? That $1 is now passed through 3 different hands.
Yeah.
So the value of that $1 that day was actually $3 in revenue. You made it, the Uber driver made it, and the store made it.
Yeah.
So you don't think that these penny savings that are happening right now are a big deal, and it's tremendous what an impact that it creates for our economy here in the US.
Yeah. That's a good point too, because there are a lot of people that are making just straight tips now because of COVID, because like we have those Uber drivers, we have Lyft and all these other services. We have people that are struggling in like food industries, like waiters, waitresses, that's how they're making their money. That's how I used to make my money. And even when times were good, it was kind of a struggle depending on where you're working. But that value of $1, that's very important for people to start looking at, because it's very hard to think that way since everything's just on a card. Nowadays everything's just electronic, and you really don't have that physical touch of, this is $1, I'm going to spend it. And I don't know. It's tough, and people need to start looking at it that way.
Yeah. Going virtually, though, there are some, since we are going to hit on that briefly, I do want to go ahead and bring up a point on that. When we're not prioritizing our future in general, so naturally that means people are not investing in themselves, and I have a very easy way for people to do that, right? Nobody likes hearing the word budget. Nobody wants to do it. No problem. Don't do it, right? If it's not for you, okay, we need to figure something else out, right? Because I can sit here and talk to you till I'm blue in the face, and you're never going to do it because it's not interesting to you.
Yeah, budget is like a trigger word for a lot of people.
Yeah, so here's a simple thing, right? I was trying to think about this, and the idea I came across is we create budgets because people don't realize how much money is slipping away from them.
Yeah.
Okay? When we talk about everything being virtual, nobody has cash anymore, we get direct deposits. You can go to your bank, set up an automatic draft for pick an amount, right? Some people might be $10, some people might be $20. Do the most you can, in my opinion, and draft it into a savings account every week.
Yeah.
You already don't know where most of your money goes, if you're being honest with yourself. So do yourself the favor of taking that $20 and let it disappear into a savings account every week. Because then when you're really out looking for money, you're going to have some.
Yeah. And I like that you said that, because that's actually one of my tips and tricks to make that safety net. What you have to do is essentially, my example that I gave was that if you're somebody that spends money on food 3-4 times a week, and on average, it's going to be about $20. Mm-hmm. So just one of those days, just stay home. Don't go out and eat. Don't waste it on McDonald's or whatever. Just take that money and put it aside into that savings, because you were going to spend it anyway, regardless. So once you put it aside, just pretend like you save it. Like you spent it. So then you're not sitting there going, oh, well, I have $20 that I didn't spend on food. Just get it out of your head completely, because it's in that savings. You spent it on savings, and then just keep doing that every week. And that's $20 a week.
Yeah. And it's miraculous too, what happens when you do that, because you're not, it's amazing how you will still find a way to buy the things you want, even when you're putting that money away for savings.
Yeah.
Because you take people who, this comes to mind when I think of managing your lifestyle when you get a raise. So a lot of times what happens is, if people get a raise and they start, say, making an extra $10,000 a year, just to use as an easy number,
yeah,
you were living your lifestyle based off of a $40,000 a year salary. So in theory, when you get a raise, that should be $10,000 a year going straight into your savings. But it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, because
It
then you
never
start
does.
living like a $50,000 income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You keep moving it up. So what happens when you take that $20 and you put it away? I mean, we're talking less than $2,000 a year. So for you to take that money down, or say when you get the raise, take that raise money, 50% of it based off of the year, and put that into a savings account, because now you can still increase your lifestyle 50%, but now you're doing something good for yourself on the side.
Yeah, I mean, but another thing that people aren't taking into account is that they need to really evaluate what's a necessity for them. Like you said, people want to live their life according to how much they're making. But then when times like this happen and they can't make that much, what's really that core necessity that you need to live?
Yeah, here's my $20 a week right here.
Rain.
This is part of my necessities to helping us do what we do here.
Yeah, that, coffee, yeah, gas.
It all adds up, man.
Yeah, but that's what the whole point. Like, you need to really reevaluate your necessities, because people will get hit with a pandemic like this, and then you can't make that money. And then you're like, well, I still need to go out and, well, I was going to say go to the movies. You can't go to the movies anymore. Like, I just need to waste my money on whatever. Or I need to keep buying video games to just sit at home because I can't go out anywhere. Like, you don't really need to spend the money on 3 video games that just came out this week. You know, you can just keep playing the one you were playing.
Yeah.
Save the other $120, you know?
It's like the whole idea, especially like pre-ordering, you know? Oh, man. All right, let's not get into the video games.
Video games was last week.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Our time has come and gone for that.
Okay, so you want to hit on some delayed gratification since we kind of hit that before?
Oh, of course. So I think we've made really good points on our previous episode with delayed gratification. A lot of that did go into talking about money, because that's where you're going to see a lot of success from delayed gratification. So, of course, it's going to be good to hit on it a little bit here. For delayed gratification, when you're starting off, is you need to learn, like you said, with your needs and your wants, okay? Yeah. And you need to learn some of the tricks that are being played on you to start, because when you can see the whole mechanics of how consumerism works, yeah, you'll start to understand how dumb you are sometimes for falling for these tricks, and it's going to upset you and it's going to help you save money, right? The simplest thing being when things go on sale. Something I was always taught was, if I'm looking for something in particular and I wait for it to go on sale and I buy it when it's on sale, that's good.
Yeah, you saved the money then.
If I'm aimlessly wandering around Amazon, and I see something on sale and I go, "Ooh, that looks nice," right? Yeah. And I buy the brand new air fryer that I am not a cook. I would have no idea how to use an air fryer, but it's pretty, it's shiny, it's new, and it's on sale and I can save $60. Ooh, saving money. That's how they get you. So now I buy it because I saved $60. And in reality, all I did was spend $120 to get the product that I'm going to use once or twice and put away forever.
Yeah, because you weren't looking for it to begin with. But when it's something that you are looking for and a sale happens, that's how you can benefit from it. Yeah. But the whole like retail, consumer, and all that jazz, they have it really down to a science. And it's like, it's almost like brainwashing.
Yeah. It pulls you away from that delayed gratification. Because you're like, if I don't get it now, when it's on sale, I'll never buy it at that price again.
Yeah, and that's like the big point that I made too. It's like they make it so then it's like you need all these things right now. Like I was saying about the video games. A brand new video game dropped the other day and it's like everybody's trying to get it. The new PS5, you need it right now. It's like, no, you don't. Like, what do you really need a new PS5 for? Yeah. That's $400, $500 that you're going to spend that you didn't have the money for. Or if you were smart, you saved up for it. But it's like that's taking away from the budget. The plan of what you're going to be spending your money for.
Yeah. Half these people right now, they don't even have jobs, or they're in fear of losing their jobs, you know, being here in Florida, or Universal already announced that they're dropping more employees at the end of the year. So it's like they're having this whole culling from these major corporations. People don't know if they're going to have a job. They're at home with their brand new PS5.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a big reason on, like, because we live in Orlando, that's where the majority of our economic, like, uprise is all the parks. We got Disney, Universal, SeaWorld. We have all those people working in that, like, bubble. And then COVID comes, and then now they're just letting everybody go left and right. But then houses are still, like, $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the things don't match up. And what's crazy is people are getting them, man. And like these cars, right? And the no interest and all these things to help keep those markets alive. So you're like, okay, these cars are no interest. Now's the time to buy it. Now's the time to buy it if you were prepared to buy a car.
Yeah.
You're not all of a sudden prepared because they changed the rules. And this all just goes into realizing the wants and needs. Because your needs have to be covered first. And then when you get to your wants, you need to be strategic about it. You need to be real with yourself about it, because you don't get everything you want in life. And you definitely don't get everything you want in life right now.
Yeah.
And it's really important to still being able to reward yourself, but not indulge yourself, you know? Don't go out there and gorge yourself on going out to eat when all the restaurants open up, you know?
Yeah.
Don't go buy the new PS5 when you're not sure if you're going to have a job in a month. It should be really simple if you just take one step back, view yourself from above, and really see where your life's going to be at in 2 months, especially in uncertain times like right now.
Yeah. But even if you are somebody that's living paycheck to paycheck, and then you feel like you've deserved this reward of, like you said, going out to eat when all the restaurants open up, don't spend the entire check. You know, start, like, if you're planning on rewarding yourself that way, start setting aside $5 right now, so then you can have a big dinner or whatever you want to treat yourself to when everything opens up. Because if not, then you're just going to continue to put yourself in debt. And that's the whole point we were trying to make when we were talking about delayed gratification before. Because debt is really, really hard to get out of once you're in it. You know, it's like it's a sinkhole. You just keep going down further and further unless you start planning ahead of time on how to get out correctly.
Yeah.
Because that's really important, or your credit score, I should say. Like, for example, when you were trying to get a house, I'm sure the first thing they looked at was your credit score.
Oh, of course. They look at that, and also you cannot make a major purchase when you're trying to buy a house.
What do you mean?
Anything at all. They said the number one mistake that people make when they go buy their first home is before the application is through and you're approved and everything like that, they already go to, like, you know,
furniture stores?
Ashley Furniture,
yeah. Okay.
and open up a line of credit with them, because they're like, well, I need to furnish this house, right? So while I'm in the process of buying the house, I go open up that credit line so I can go buy $5,000 worth of furniture. And whether you can or can't afford it's not the issue. But now what happens is you're allowing yourself to be able to sink an extra $5,000 into the hole.
Yeah.
Buying a house, they don't like that.
You as they're reviewing what you're spending on, yeah, that doesn't make.
Yeah, it literally can break people. So, like, you're on the process of being approved for that, and then that $5,000 that you're able to get from, like, you know, a furniture store, now your home buying power goes from that 195 to 190.
Yeah.
And that house you're trying to buy was 192. You just got declined. You can't buy that home now.
Oof. But then that's the power of credit. That's what I'm trying to say. People need to, like, start focusing on, like, get all these free apps that you can look into your credit. Like, you need to have good stance on things when you want to buy a house, when you want to buy a car, because I'm sure not a lot of people want to be buying a house right now. But, like, little things that can very well ruin your chance of getting something if you're really trying to get credit or something with credit.
Yeah, you know, we spend so much time learning about, you know, trades and jobs and work and all these things about how to make money, but we don't spend enough time thinking about how to manage it. And, you know, if you spend that little bit of time on focusing on how credit works, how to build credit without having to spend a lot of money on it, you're literally setting yourself up for the next 60 years of your life by just spending a couple months now learning how it all works and prioritizing what you need to prioritize. But coming into this, we do have a couple tips and examples for you guys at home who might be struggling financially or even not, but you're starting to get a little nervous about it. We have some really simple things to go through with you guys, and I think Josue will start off with some points.
Thank you. I really wanted to hit this one because it's one that I was able to, it helped me a lot coming out of the hole that I was in, because my problem was that it's just very easy to slide a plastic card and get the things you want. I didn't have a credit card, but it's like the debit card. You're not seeing the money leave your account as you're swiping, So my tip for everybody, it's super easy. Might be a little bit difficult right now because of the time we're living in and, this whole new world order. Cough. But how everybody's trying to do like the cashless thing. Cash is super important because it's going to help you realize how much money you're actually giving up. Start taking out money from an ATM. If you spend $200 a week, right? Just take out $200 and whatever you're going to buy, whether it be you're going to spend money at a restaurant, you're going to go buy gas, use the cash to pay, because you're going to be a little bit more inclined to not spend it, because it's a lot harder to let go of $20 and see it turn into $2 than just swipe a card. That's very, not important, but it's crucial to help you like start understanding the value of what you're spending. You got tip number 2 from me?
Yeah, just to play off the credit cards, I had a simple point to make with it, and that it's if you can't pay your credit card off at the end of the month in full, you spent too much. So that's kind of the idea I have going into it, right? When I originally built up my credit, I used a gas card. So instead of paying for my gas with a debit card, I would use that credit card that had literally a $300 limit on it.
Yeah.
So that way at the end of the month, I could spend... I already had a race car by the time before I built credit. So I had a $300 a month gas bill. I was spending about $70 a week on gas.
Gotta go fast.
That when, gas was also $5 a gallon for 93 at the time. So, hashtag thanks Obama. But I was able to spend that, right? And at the end of the month, it was no problem to pay it off.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you were going to spend it anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. You start sweating a little bit when you can't pay that credit card off at the end of the month, because now all that means is you're living beyond your means.
Yeah.
So, and it ties exactly with what you said about when you use the credit card, you don't see the money leaving your account.
Yeah.
But you need to think that way. Every single time you swipe that credit card, you need to compare it to your bank account and get to that bottom number, because that's really what you have in that account.
Yeah.
And if that number goes negative, you're going to start being in trouble.
Yeah, because the tricky part with a credit card is that people are going to swipe that for gas, right? And then they're going to think that they're spending, $20 on gas, but then they have $20 in their account that they're just going to go spend on something else.
Yeah.
So the hard part is to not spend that.
Yeah.
Because you think that you have all this extra money, but no.
Exactly. That's why the main goal, if you are trying to build your credit, it is important for you to use that credit card. And my main tip as far as credit usage goes is, even if you have multiple credit cards, because you should build up more lines of credit throughout time, but use one card a month.
Yeah. Because
that way it's easy to manage, it's easy to track. You can watch, you can just compare those balances better and make sure you're not living beyond your means because of how easy it is to do that. So like I cycle through, 1 month I use my Discover, the next I use my Capital One.
Yeah.
It keeps me in good standings with all of my creditors, and it helps me build amazing credit.
Yeah.
I have an excellent credit score, Yeah.
And that's another thing. We're not telling you guys to not get credit cards. We're telling you to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that can tell you how to manage your money properly, and they tell you just don't get credit. Don't have a credit card. Don't do any of that. It's like you kind of need to in the world that we live in. So it's like you're going to need to just do it properly.
Yeah, because it's great to save cash and have 30 grand in the bank. But if you have no credit, guess who's not buying a house?
Yeah, there's no trace or history on the kind of person you are when it comes to finances, and that's why it's very important to have credit.
Yeah. But going into my second tip here that gets us off of credit now.
Yeah.
This goes back to developing that nest egg. Okay. I do not need to sell you on the idea of having a nest egg. If I do, you need to check yourself out because, right now is COVID season. If you don't see the reason to have some raw cash saved in your bank account, then I probably can't help you, right?
Yeah.
There's an obvious reason for it. And, this is always going to be number one. Cash is king. When people start entering the world of investing and saving money and being more financially woke, they tend to skip this step, and it's so fundamental. And I know why people skip it, because I wanted to skip it too. Because you see all these things you can invest in, right? You can go into stocks, you can go into cryptocurrencies, Roth IRAs, 401ks, all these things that you can invest your money into that start building more money, right? That's money that's earning you money.
Yeah.
But you cannot start there. Every single, financial advisor will tell you you have to have a nest egg first. And as soon as you start making enough money to be able to save some, you immediately want to spend it on those things, and you think you're doing good for yourself. But now all your money is tied up in investments. COVID hits, and you can lose your house.
Yeah, and you can't pull that money out once you start investing it like that, right? Because the whole point on investing in stocks and whatever is like it has to keep building.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're day trading, but yeah, like crypto, things like that, you can pull out of. But a lot of times you take a hit more so than what you put in it.
Yeah.
If you weren't already in it for a couple of years, And 401ks, Roth IRAs, I mean, you definitely can't pull out of that. Like, once you put money in a Roth IRA, it's gone until you're 65. Pretty much.
Yeah. This is where you can tell that I have no knowledge on finances when it comes to stocks or day trading or whatever.
Yeah. I'll definitely get into that more later.
I'm not at that point yet.
Yeah. But neither are a lot of people. And so that's why we're not hitting that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to see all those things out there and it's going to sound great to you. And you're like, oh, but I can turn $5,000 into $10,000 in a year. It's like, well, you can, but that's the selling point.
Yeah.
You can, but you're more than likely not going to. And the most important part is developing that nest egg. You need to have 6 months of savings before you do anything else.
Yeah, real quick. So what if you get hit up by like this Nigerian prince on how to like, you invest like $5,000 to him and then he'll give you $15,000 in a couple months?
Yeah, those actually work really well.
Yeah.
And if, because typically like for people who are going to do those types of things and respond to those emails, those are also the same people that don't see the importance of even having a nest egg. So it's perfect,
Okay.
Squander that money.
So next time Nigerian prince hits me up, I'm going to send him $5,000.
You know it, man.
No. This is a joke.
Yeah. A fool with his money is soon to part with it. But that's really the main point I have on this is, it's great because I don't need to preach it too much, right? I don't need to sell it. Well, I guess I preach it, but I don't need to sell it to you. You see the importance of it because, and it's not even to like toot my own horn, but it's, me and my wife, we were able to save 6 months worth of bills and everything like that because when COVID hit, she lost her job. I was the only one working. We literally took our income and cut it in half. Okay. And we didn't break a single sweat because we were prepared to, if we both lost our jobs, we'd have 6 months to figure something out. It is such a great peace of mind that the money you save doesn't even compare to the peace of mind you have once you have 6 months of bills saved.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, And like you even know, like my race car wasn't even running at the time, but I still decided to put the money in the savings because that's more important.
Yeah.
You need to really strategize and make these decisions for yourself for the future. And not the future of 1 month from now, but the future of 10 years from now.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to hit this last point real quick because we are coming up on the holidays and Thanksgiving's coming up next week, or well, this week. This episode comes out on Monday, Thanksgiving's Thursday, and then what comes Friday?
Black Friday.
Yep, and that's where all the stress and sales start coming up. You don't want to get into fights with anybody at Walmart, right?
No, especially not right now, man. They'll be spitting on you.
No, very bad, very dangerous. But the whole point that I want to make is it's very difficult to start living a structured life if you're always struggling for financial stability, right? So when it comes to this holiday season and you're already struggling because of the COVID, because you're not making as much money as you were planning to make, but you're sitting here going, oh, but I have to get all these gifts for my family. It's all right. You don't have to spend all this money on family. You know, half the time they're just going to get a gift and then repurpose it or give it to somebody else. You know, it's the hard truth. Every time you get people gifts, it's not like, unless you're the perfect gift giver, you don't have to go all out when it comes to this shopping spree on Black Friday. So if you really wanted to do that for your family, I suggest that you should just put it off a year, right? Start using one of these tricks, whichever one you like the most that we gave to start saving money, but save it for next year's Black Friday. You know, if you really wanted to go all out for your family and that's like how you show them that you care for them, I guess, then wait till next year, have that money set aside so then you don't even have to stress about using it. You know, but then this year, I'm sorry, just you're going to have to struggle a little bit, but just tell them, you know, you're saving for next year. And that should be more important than going into debt because you felt the need to give your family gifts.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% because right now, everybody has the perfect excuse.
Yeah, COVID.
COVID season sucks, man. You couldn't afford the gifts this year. It's that simple.
Or just make them like handmade gifts. Make them a card. They'll appreciate that a little bit more than getting them a generic gift, you know, some body wash.
Yeah.
Make them a card. Say how much you care about them that way.
And for the people that don't, or the people that get upset with you or whatever, I would implore you to take the time to really look at those people and see why they're upset and understand that that is the exact mindset that keeps people broke. It really is. You know, I don't want to hate on anybody's family or make anybody feel called out, but it's the honest truth. And it's these people that are super delved into the idea of consumerism that if you don't spend money on me, you obviously don't love me or care about me.
Yeah, they feel like they deserve a gift from you.
Yeah.
When it's like, you really don't. If they should be willing to understand that it's more important for you to be financially stable than to go get them a $500 gift.
Exactly. So just remember, man, you know, you need to build that structure in your life. And finances are one of the key ingredients to being structured and having that solid foundation for you to stand on. Because cash is king. Money does rule our world.
Yeah.
And you need to be in control of that. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you're living with this consumerist mindset, you are not in control. And that translates to your life. So you really need to buckle down, use this time to reflect on it, and hold true to what you're learning now and what you're looking up now about money. Because when COVID season goes and you start making money again and you're applying these principles you're using now and you're starting to save that money because you understand the importance of it, don't let that big number in your bank account fool you, because you can spend it just like that.
2 seconds.
2 seconds, man. Yeah. Don't do it. Remember what you learned from it. Allow yourself to enjoy life, but just don't indulge it.
Yeah.
Don't engorge yourself on all these things.
So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to another Monday episode. Very much appreciate you guys. Hopefully you appreciate this camera setup that we got going on for you guys. If you do like it, remember to comment down below, like the video, share it if you can, please. Follow us on social media. Got podcast TMF on Instagram. Parler,
we are the motivating force.
There you go. We have a Facebook as well, the motivating force. Website's under construction, but it should be out soon. Thank you guys.
See y'all next week. Go on and get.